Kids these days don't have the weight of waiting anymore, you know? My whole childhood and teenage years was going to school by bus, right? Or, on the train. And that is a process of waiting to get to from point A to point B. And now, like, waiting is just not waiting anymore. Because you constantly consider, okay, there was books, right? There was books before, but book is a more static kind of process, right? Now it's this dynamic con- consuming information with the phone. So like also there was like really like the kids don't wait anymore these days. They don't have to. They can't wait. They cannot just sit and wait for something to happen, right? It's because they have a distraction. They have all of the information of the world at hand, and why would you wait? Like you can get entertained. And I just like thought about, as a child, like sometimes I would have to wait for my parents to pick me up from school, from baseball practice. So you were even waiting in a group was a thing. Today, you don't wait in a group anymore. Of course, yes, you chat here and there, but usually like people are on their phones, and I don't know, like it's I guess like waiting was good for community in a way. People don't like to be bored anymore. I think like boredom has become something that's need to be avoided at all cost. So like there's this, and I see it in myself now with a phone, and it's for me here. That's why I leave my phone down here. I don't bring it up because I don't want to be distracted by this in this kind of community that we're in right now. Um, but yeah, like so this is the heaviness of being bored. That we don't get to experience anymore.
There's like boredom, and the one you're describing has a certain kind of niceness to it.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say that, but how can you make boredom great again? um, because I feel like we need to be bored a lot more, because the boredom leads to creative and abstract thought. It leads you to um, like, oh, like I feel so uncomfortable with myself right now, and I can't escape, because like getting out of boredom is to escape something, right? It's escaping from yourself. It's escaping from an uncomfortable feeling. Um, so yeah, I think that also changed a lot when with like cell phones, and like I said, like it was this gradual kind of thing in the beginning. With my first phone, you still have to pay for text, so you try to keep it very short. And um, but yeah, like with this whole like process, like how many unnecessary like text or Google searches do you do through, not because you cannot sit with boredom anymore? Like how it might be a great statistic to find out like how much energy is being used because we can't be bored anymore. Like how big of an impact for the environment is it that we can't be bored anymore?
In meditation, I mean, that's the whole thing, is you're bored, and that's why it works. The idea that my teacher called it cool boredom, that you
Cool
have,
boredom.
yeah, you have the sense that instead of it being a thing you're pushing away, you kind of welcome
Yeah.
you have the space of boredom to feel the things that you're not necessarily um, gentle or kind or genuine enough to feel.
Mm-hmm.
It forces you to experience things and trust your experience in
Right.
that outside of your comfort zone. And meditation can be comforting,
Yeah.
but this is the thing I was talking about with Margot. The whole thing is like, if it's just comforting, then it loses its boredom in a way. Then you can make meditation into non-boredom.
Yeah.
So the cool boredom gets you to awareness. So you go from mindfulness of the thoughts and what you're feeling to the space around it. And the space around it is like ayahuasca, because it's like I don't know what the space is, but it's got some kind of interesting qualities and it's changing all the time. And it reminds me of something, and memories come up and emotions come up, but it's all in the context of um, being grounded in the boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not grounded in the boredom, then you wind up jumping like a Mexican jumping bean, like hitting your phone and just texting or buying something on Amazon. If I'm not texting, I'm buying something on Amazon. If I'm not buying something on Amazon, I'm looking at Snapchat or looking at a dog video.
Oh,
If I'm not looking at a dog video, I mean, and listen to music.
Yeah.
So they listen to music. It's a drug too. There's this, we were talking about there's no albums. It's just a song. And then they have to know the greatest one. And there's all this kind of, there's no relaxation with the music. It's more like it's filling the space instead of creating space. Music can create space, but today's music creates less and less space in general. Even like electronic music in a way seems to me, and like some of the stuff we're doing here, we both don't like, I guess, is there's a sense of I'm filling. Where'd the space go?
Yeah.
So everything in the world is kind of sacrificing its sense of space, and the sense of that we are experiencing this together without knowing where it's going to go. And,
Right.
you know, even like that's again the problem with the ayahuasca, that if you know that there's going to be a beat and a beat and a beat and a beat, you're not really going into that uncertainty completely, because there's some comfort there and there's gap, you know, and then the gap is space. And then ultimately there's no gap, because ultimately if you're not separating things into things, you're just experiencing it continually.
Yeah.
And that's, again, with the ayahuasca, there's no gap at a certain point if you jump into it. And then the only gap is when you shy away and say, I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah. With like waiting and boredom, you give yourself space, but not just, I mean, yes, but you give your unconscious like space to have some, you know, some time to process. And for me now, like I have this exercise now, and it's you know, nothing very special, but it's 17 minutes of sitting at a table with just nothing, no phone, no pen, just nothing, just sit there. And it's not even like meditating. So like I just sit there and I look around, right? And I realize that sometimes then after a while, okay, like there's this idea that can emerge out of this space that I'm giving my subconscious, you know, like my just like this peace of mind, and just looking around, um and this is something so important, and I am just relearning it, you know. So I'm kind of tapping back into my pre-technology childhood or teenage years. I want to say like childhood, but the pre, and I also like pre-cell phone, right? Because computer was still something, it was not that fast, you know. It was still like, it took a while that, you know, it was booting, and it was everything was just a bit slower. Like even playing a game, there you sometimes you had to wait minutes, you know.
You had to put a quarter in.
Yeah.
Boy, you had to pay for it. Oh, wait a minute. Is it going to start again? It'd take like 2 minutes to start the second time.
Like, you know, like an internet search. It just, that was also involved like with like waiting. And I think you were much more conscious of what are you going to do with the technology. As in these days, you're just so unconscious. You're a phantom on your phone and just navigating and being directed by lights and text and
algorithms.
And algorithms, you know. It was just like a couple months ago where I got this app where it can limit the usage of certain apps. And then I'm like, who have I become that I am so addicted to, I mean, all of the information that life has to offer is accessible like here, right? And yeah, but like I'm like, ah, shit, like I don't want to be like this person, like, you know, like I don't want to need that app that, but you know, it's tech, it's the tech bros that want you to
You're 31, right?
33.
33.
Yeah.
So at 33, yeah, you are seeing the light, which is, you're a guide, like
Well,
Gustav's Jesus, and I don't know who you are, you're Buddha or something, but the, the sense that, you can see through that is fabulous. The sense of sitting and doing nothing. My guru now, he was saying that, like, just sit. It's a Japanese thing. They just say just sit. My teacher would say just sit, but
yeah,
he said, yeah, just doing absolutely nothing, no instruction, is really high form of meditation. And awareness is the big thing. I mean, that's why we're doing ayahuasca. It's about awareness. It's not about mindfulness.
right, yeah,
It takes you to a place where everything that you didn't know how it worked, you feel like you might, and you don't even know that you could. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
this is really teaching me something
yeah.
profound.
Well, I consider myself a designer. I don't have a website, and I don't have a portfolio. And
You
I'm
have
like,
LinkedIn?
I'm like,
You have
I
LinkedIn.
do have
I
LinkedIn.
know.
Yeah,
I knew you
I
had that.
do not a lot there,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but because it, I don't, I don't know, like,
You don't want your identity online.
yeah, well, I have my identity online that I didn't ask for. So if you Google my name, it is filled like with pictures of me playing baseball, right? I did play semi-professional baseball. That is my identity.
If there's an identity that you could say of the 20, 25-year-olds, maybe 28, I don't know, it would be one, lonely, two, anxious, three, disconnected, and four, the opposite of idealism and optimism and possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just four out of 100. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, because I talked to this 20-year-old and he said, yeah, like, what would you say your life is in one word? And he said, impossible. And I was like, wow, when I grew up,
Impossible.
yeah, when I grew up, it was like,
Oh,
we
yeah,
thought
yeah.
Bobby Kennedy was going to change the world. Then he got shot, thought John Kennedy was going to be really good. And then we had like Black Panthers, we had the anti-war movement, we had all
Right.
kinds of senses. We were involved and we could change the world for the better. And even if we couldn't, we had that vision. But that vision's pretty toast. I mean, people like Greta Thunberg and people have Occupy, and they had the anti-King movement. People have things, but they don't fundamentally believe any of it because it feels like the deck is completely stacked against you. So your identity in that sense is like crushed in terms of a positive outlook.
But yeah. But I feel like, that's in a way like what is being created through tech, like the impossible. Because, for example, like for me, I don't see it as impossible. Like, I mean, I'm 33. I have different generation. I work for like big companies in marketing and communication, but then I worked for 2 years, sadly during COVID, for an orchestra. And then after that, I went back into the industry, and I was in an innovation consultancy. But I've seen also throughout the last 10 years that the change in technology, but also in the workforce. So now you have different identities on different digital platforms, right? So, like LinkedIn is this new big thing, and I fucking hate it. I
Not new,
Not new, but this
but
new,
it's grown into
yes.
something.
And
I
now
mean, it
you
was
have,
nice at first. It was a sort of a resume thing, and it was just very simple.
yeah,
And then there's a million, like, I can't even go to it because
yeah. Now
I don't want any of it.
it is a Facebook kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it's just people have a digital identity on different platforms, and they, like it's different from their Instagram. A lot of times it's become like out of a need, because like the username is not available anymore, right? So
Hmm.
you have to kind of find a different kind of name identity, but they're all very separate from who you actually are, and I think that is not a good not a good thing, because then it's this separate. I'm, like, obviously, like if you go to work, you play a different role, right? And if you meet with your friends, you play a different role. You go to your parents, you're a different role. Like you already play these different roles, and now you have to think about, what role am I playing on that platform and this platform? and it's becoming like too much. And I think people just, at least I sometimes can't keep up with it. And I get very, very overwhelmed, and that's why I felt for a long time this alienation, like just I feel alien to myself. And now we're learning a lot how powerful your mind is, right? And then you feel alien to this identity, to the people, to the world. It has an effect on your body, and it becomes this whole thing. And then we have all these new words for mental stuff, like you get another identity because you have ADHD. And
Neurologically divergent.
yes,
I heard that one recently. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
yeah, I mean they're good that they're cutting back on giving out more diagnosis, right? But it's becoming a mess. And there's this one, he's a philosopher, I think, or like a social scientist. His name is Helmut Rosa, a German, a German one, and he described it. He has a book. It's called Acceleration, and he describes it. Like life has changed so much. There's so much change on a daily base, a constant change in politics, in life, and it's just everything's becoming so fast and so much change that people get so overwhelmed by the change that and that is with the older generation, they cling to something that is more traditional. So we see this pushback into the right, and
I never thought of the traditional as right, but I mean,
no, like not the
no, I get it.
I mean,
I get
not,
it.
I mean, what is right?
No,
today,
but they think of it. They think of the
Yes.
right as traditional. I
They
never
think of the
thought
right
anyone-
as
yeah. That's so helpful because it became on like a tornado. Like suddenly, this whole right wing, everybody likes dictators. But I know, like, I talked to some people that were really intelligent. And they were like, "Oh, Putin's good because he gets stuff done." We
Oh,
come from
yeah.
Mexico, and nothing's getting before the new leader. But they were
Right.
like, nothing gets done, and you need somebody to actually take hold. And so, yeah, when it's again one of those things you were talking about, the protection. You need protection from if everything's chaotic constantly. It makes you feel like you need to cling to something
Yeah.
that used to work, even if it's fascism.
And that and that, I mean, like the I'm saying like right tradition, whatever. There's this like more towards like family values, and then you cling more to your one country, right? Because like globalization has brought us all of these new people, and they brought the change, and so they like cling to the more traditional part. And like he said, just people are just cannot keep up with the change. Like 10 years ago, the right was something completely different than it's today, as well as the left, and the more extreme the right goes, the more extreme the left goes. And now they're so extreme apart that if you say you're on the right or you're on the left, you cannot meet anymore because you are miles apart. Like before, the definition was much closer and you could have a discourse, but now you feel so so to the left that the people are just so far away, and it doesn't make sense to talk to them anymore. So we don't have discourse properly anymore, and then people are getting censored. Yeah, so the whole identity thing is it's just so crazy. But then also you have to see, which is so dehumanizing for me in the work I was doing in marketing. It's like, of course you need like a buyer persona. You have your target audience and you create your optimal like buyer kind of thing. But it's like, if we don't look out there for the people that is that have that identity, we as a company want to create this kind of person, and have an active part of shaping this person. And it's and with algorithms, it's like,
That's so interesting. Wow.
well, I mean, I was with Siemens. I was with Mercedes Benz, Siemens, Orchestra, and then an innovation consultancy. Which my last job was, I kind of like thought, okay, well, we fund innovation that do research on like cancer, these kind of things. But then
Yeah.
we would also fund
Yeah.
like drone research and
Right.
drone development,
Right.
you know, because that is also innovation. You know, the way innovation is a fucked up word. Really, like innovation is so overused, and nobody like innovation becomes like incremental, like it, you know, like just a little twist, and that's an innovation. Like you put a new screw into a machine that, and you save a little bit of, of energy through this, that is innovation.
So it's fake innovation.
It is fake innovation. And a lot of times, like with innovation, you just, you need growth, you know, you need always more and new. And so yeah, that's a whole like
Well, that's
different
capitalism.
thing.
Capitalism always needs more.
Capitalism, yeah.
And then enshittification sounds like it hit the word innovation. So
Yes.
enshittification is that they have to keep growing, so they usually do things that sacrifice quality
Yeah.
for the sake of showing the stockholders they're doing something. But now innovation has become part of that, maybe the main part of that wave, that they have to say they're innovating when they're
Yeah.
not innovating at all. It's an imperative of the system starting to deteriorate because there is no place to go that you've done something you didn't do. So you have to make up that you did something you didn't do to convince
Correct.
people there's a value in your company.
Bringing back community into our lives, that is a real challenge, and that needs to be every person, for, you know, needs to do their part in all of that. Like Buddhism and other practices can create this kind of community that is not, you know, attached to a religion, and then, you know, and away from the danger that that brings, you know, that religion can bring as well. I'm optimistic, and I want to be. I just don't want to. I've for a long time, I've, you know, I've been to dark times where I didn't see the light, but I do, and I don't want to lose that. And I refuse to be a pessimistic person. I just don't want to be that. That is,
That you do have power over.
yeah, and that you have power over.
And everyone here, watching this,
Yes.
no matter what you tell someone, it seems like you don't because of this. And so when you said like you didn't see how people could make a community, I was thinking like you're like the guy who's saying it's impossible. But on the other hand, one, you can control how you feel, but
Yeah.
two, I feel if everyone is so fed up with this thing, they're going to find ways because humans are adaptable because we know we can't go in this direction
Mhm.
without this kind of dark portrait that you painted. Things are possible that are outside of, we're so used to being told that things can't happen.
Yeah.
If we start telling each other, it will spread. And I feel the ripple effect of being positive and not believing that we're a screwed up, greedy species, which everyone will say it's money. Every time I hear someone say it's money, I'm like, no, it's people. People make those attitudes. And
Yeah.
so therefore it can change. If it was money and it's just like power corrupts absolutely and all that kind of thing, then yeah, I
You know,
would be totally
yeah.
frustrated. I would give up, and I think it's impossible because we're just doomed to have a bad attitude. But I
Yeah.
don't think we're doomed to have a bad attitude. Like you said, you can believe in yourself.
It can happen instantaneously. It is one decision away, you know. You might have to decide every time over and over again, but it's one decision away, you know.
Love that.
So,
And ayahuasca, that's what it is, right?
that's what it is,
Every
you know.
moment you're challenged and you know that it's not fixed.
Yeah.
You know, in ayahuasca, unlike other drugs, you feel like you have to play the game, you have to understand the game, you have to go beyond your comfort zone
Yeah.
and be bored, and all of the things that make you a living, interested, curious person that wants to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see people doing ayahuasca and not wanting to help people. It feels like because you're going through your
Yeah.
struggle, and you do definitely see that other people have the same things you have, and you don't want them to go suffer.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm very keen of exploring in general, like the psychedelic state and what we can learn from it, and how the state of being can be integrated into system, into new ways of being. Not saying that the psychedelics is the solution, but at least the states that we can tap into feel like there is like a lot of wisdom that we can, you know, take from it and learn from it. And even if it's the one thing that, you know, suffering is not all bad. You know, there is a lot of like wisdom and information in the suffering, and it's nothing to avoid, you know. And the suffering can be the staying with boredom, for example.
Become a catalyst.
Yeah.